Welcome to another edition of the Essex County Ghost Project television show. Today, we're back in Rhode Island, and we're actually in Warwick, Rhode Island right now. Keith Johnson.
Hello,
thank you,
John. Good to see you again.
Yes, good seeing you. Relatively newer looking, but older cemetery here. Why don't we explain why you might think there was some paranormal experiences here?
Well, this particular place, for one thing, it's by running water. Plus, there was nearby an asylum, a poor farm, and some of the residents were buried here, so we have some unmarked graves here. We don't know who's buried where in some spots. And of course, Rhode Island has a history of vampirism.
Yes.
We're the vampire capital of the United States because relatives would die one after the other from diseases such as tuberculosis, which they called consumption. So they would go digging up their relatives looking for an incorruptible. If somebody seemed pretty fresh when they should have decayed, then that was an indication that they were feeding off their relatives. Of course, our most well-known one is Mercy Brown in Exeter, Rhode Island, and she was actually unearthed. She died at the age of 19 of tuberculosis. She was unearthed in March 17th of 1892, so that anniversary is coming up.
Now, how long have you been doing this for?
Oh, I've been doing this, well, since I was a teenager, so going on like 4 decades. I drew up a little ad and put it in a local newspaper, advertising our free services. We do investigations of things unexplained. Lo and behold, 3 weeks later, a woman answered it from Harrisville, Rhode Island. It turned out she had moved into an 18th century farmhouse that was incredibly haunted.
Wow.
So that's how we got involved in our first major case. Incidentally, that's being made into a major motion picture, which is going to be released July 19th of this year, called The Conjuring.
Okay.
All right, and we realized when we came there, we realized this was the real deal. Things were really going on. I was upstairs with the children. I used religious provocation. I called upon the name of Jesus Christ. Suddenly a window slammed, there's activity, a girl got slapped in the face. And I kept praying, so it did settle down after a few moments. My brother and I are blood related to H.P. Lovecraft.
H.P. Lovecraft actually spent time in Haverhill on Groveland Street, and he had a house there on Groveland Street that he worked out of.
Well, I would say the most interesting cases are cases of demonic possession. Once in a while, you will hit that case where something will happen. Something will fly off the wall and things like that.
Of our viewers that are wondering what it takes to become a demonologist.
I think if you're meant to do that, you're going to be brought into it. It's not something you even can pursue. It's going to find you, and then you take the necessary steps from there. Once a cemetery gets a reputation for being haunted, watch out, because you're going to get people coming in doing rituals, and you get some serious explorers, of course, but you're going to have people doing satanic worship, desecrating, smashing things.
Anything exciting going in here?
There's a very beautiful young girl that's buried over there. She's we get a very positive feeling over there from her.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you agree.
Yes.
Very, very positive. She was a very lovely person in life, and
so it's quite an interesting area down here.
It is, but you really, one thing, when you're around here, you feel charged.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't feel drained in here. I feel charged.
No, I get it.
Yeah, I would recommend going to Precious Blood Cemetery. There's a big history there. You know, couldn't meet a cooler group of people than right here.
And we're going to see you guys again real soon in the paranormal. We're in an undisclosed location in Cumberland, Rhode Island, a very haunted graveyard. And today's going to be a great show. This is a great location. The energy is great. It's great, looking like great squatch country out here. This is an area of sacred ground. So when you come to a graveyard, you always have to respect the grave. Whoa! Hey, it's Dina. How you doing? We're doing good. This is everybody. Welcome Dina to the show here today, and we're going to talk a little bit about paranormal and Bigfoot. So, when was your first Bigfoot experience in this area? Or?
It was actually up the road from here.
Up the road,
Yes,
okay.
I was 17.
You were 17?
17, yes.
So you're originally from Rhode Island?
Yes.
Have you seen one ever since?
I've seen glimpses.
Glimpses?
Glimpses. They're really stealth. I mostly find a lot of prints. And What I did was interview a lot of people from Rhode Island that have had sightings too.
Right.
And I really wanted to get their stories out there.
Now, what's your favorite haunted public location that you can talk about?
I would have to say Slater Mill and Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
That's your favorite place.
It's actually a very haunted location, and I encourage all you ghost hunters out there to go to the Slater Mill.
This is actually an intense situation here. I mean, we've some of the team members have picked things up just as we're setting up over here, so it's pretty intense. I'm having an
Definitely.
intense situation right now with the spirits.
Bigfoot is that's my own passion.
Yeah.
It's an addiction. I can't even get away from it. It's in me now. And we decided to go camping one night at an undisclosed location in Massachusetts. We set up camp and I could feel the eyes, something watching, you know. And we heard this big crash in back of us. We screamed. I'm like, wait a minute, we're out here Bigfooting. Why are we screaming? But something really, really big
Dumped the tree over.
was right in back of us. We screamed.
It's interesting because you don't really know what is out there. None of us really know what's out
Nobody is an expert at this.
there. When we have you back on again, we'll come back down here, maybe do it in another
Definitely.
undisclosed location.
Undisclosed.
I love these undisclosed locations. You never know what you're going to find.
Exactly.
I'm surprised yet we haven't had a stone thrown at us or one of these trees dropped on our heads. I'm
That
waiting for that to happen.
That would have made it very interesting.
That would have made it even better.
Yeah.
And I'm going to see you guys in the paranormal. I actually got somebody with me today, our guest, Carl Johnson, who's going to talk about the history of the Slater Mill and the paranormal history of the Slater Mill.
This is the birthplace of the American Industrial Revolution period of history.
But some paranormal activity has happened here too, hasn't it?
Oh yes, the way I see it, you can't have the hauntings without the history. Strange things tend to happen here.
A lot of the mills and cotton mills, shoe industry, you name it, any type of mill industry, it was tough.
Oh, yeah, it's going to have its accidents, and the people were regarded as parts of the machinery. So they were expendable, the machines were not. And in the early days of Slater Mill, children would work from the age of 6 to 13 here in Slater Mill. That was the major part of the work staff, children. Officially, Slater Mill is not haunted. I mean, it stands on its own as a fascinating historic site. However, there are plenty of things that occur here that we can't easily explain away. Just around the corner here, at the other side of the machine, that's where I and several guests heard disembodied voices. Still things we don't understand that happen here at Slater Mill site. Something here, some kind of energy.
So I want to thank Carl for coming out.
My pleasure.
Thank you. And I'm going to see you in the paranormal.